ladies and gents, to another slamming Peanut the Monkey. As you can see, I'm going to be playing Ace Combat. I've got a new game. Very exciting. It actually wasn't the one I wanted to get, but I think it was a happy accident. Let me just turn the heating on for a little bit. Here we are into Saturday. Everyone's having a splash, blah. Fantastic time. So, I do like Ace Combat games. Again, just leave it to the Japanese just to be able to make a fucking really fun game, just based on, like... I mean, jets in general are, like, cool. And this is the interesting trade-off, right? Because jets are really cool. The actual problem with them is that, like, actual jet combat is, like... It's just pretty, like... I don't want to say it's, like, easy, because it's not at all. But I'm just saying, like, the hardest part, I think, of, like, most of the jet fighting is... I don't know. Like, I don't think I've really ever seen any, like, modern dogfights with, like, all the proper high-tech jets. And then how they actually fare up against each other, because I'm pretty sure the thing with these sort of jets is that the only way you can kind of have yourself a somewhat decent-ish dogfight is if everyone has, like, equipment that's, like, a similar grade. I just think that's the problem. It's just everyone's got such, like, different levels of advancements in jets. I think they're saying, like, China has ones that are, like, basically just... I don't know if it's like scram or hyperjets. They just can travel like so fast. So how are you supposed to like fight that? I mean, not only just that. But you just got like the practical nature of just the fact that like a jet can only carry so many missiles and bullets and has so much fuel. So you have to kind of remove those barriers as well. They do that in like most games you play anyway. It's just shit if you're just gonna play a fucking jet game and you've only got like 5 rockets. Although I still think they do that in this. They don't give you unlimited, but they just give you like far more than I think you would ever have. Although I remember it was funny because there was one of these where it was like one I had on a PC back in like 2012, 13. I played it on my gaming laptop. It was really fun. It was like, I had this thing where I think it was this mission where you were like dogfighting in Dubai. That was like the first mission. And it had all these really cool set pieces, and it looked great. They just had gone to a lot of efforts to make a somewhat realistic-ish looking Dubai. And I just remember it had this like mode, it was like the main like USP of this mode in particular is if you were like trailing on a particular enemy, you had the ability. I think it was like to push like 2 of the shoulder buttons together because you know this like it will be like L1 and R1 at the same time, and then your like plane just kind of went into like it like entered into like a what do you call it, like a on the rails sort of game, and your plane is just moving. And you have to kind of just like move left and right, just kind of just dodge like pieces of or like the buildings and stuff. But it was like the main actual like, movements, the speed of your plane was being controlled. And it just gave this illusion like your plane was just going mental and just like weaving in and out of the city. And that was really cool. I did really like that mode. And that's the other thing that they just don't take themselves at all that seriously. So like you just have these aircraft that just can't exist. It, the sponsors at the start were like the actual like Lockheed Martin and Boeing and Saab and stuff. So they've actually got like the manufacturers. So it's interesting they have that. So whether they have real planes or not, but they always have some crazy fucking impossible aircraft. Like, every time you play the game, it's always like it's great. I love it for it, but it's just crazy. It's always like there's a mission where there's some kind of like massive fucking convoy plane which just doesn't exist. And it's like it's got like its wings are just like it's like 200 like a kilometer like out, and it's huge, and it's just got like 7 engines or something like that. It's got like on each side, it's got like 7 engines, and each engine compartment or bit, it's got like a gun turret on top, and they're all just this is the mission. It's just you got to take that out, and it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. I don't even think something like that could fly, but it doesn't matter. You don't care. You just think it's brilliant. You just get like psyopsed into. Because that's the thing about this is like the thing that I think people are learning about games is people don't really care about the story being crazy as long as it's fun. And you just don't go too how you're crazy. Just say, even if you just have like a sentence or two that just kind of makes sense. So you could probably just if you just knew like that particular plane was like this plane that they've been working on for like a decade to build, and just throw in some shit like that. It's just using some advanced AI. Well, AI wasn't really around then, but you see what I mean? Usually you can just say like a line like that. It'll just be like, it's this super thing that's been built for a decade. So you kind of just think, oh, maybe that could exist. But you just realize that's why you never would make a flying fortress, I think is what you call it, just because it is too easy to take down. It's so easy just to shoot stuff down. I know this. I know this sounds like not necessarily true. You might be able to do it if, for example, you had like a nuclear powered one. But then we're entering some crazy territories there. I'm surprised no one's done it yet. I know that sounds crazy because if you had a nuclear powered jet, I, I just think you can't make it that small. You just can't make a nuclear generator that small. So that's the problem. It'd be too heavy. I know you effectively have unlimited fuel. Yeah, but it's just I don't know how that'll work. I don't know if even the amount of the energy it will generate will be enough to kind of output. You need to have something like plasma or something to be able to power stuff like that. Because plasma can just hold loads of energy, but you'd need something to just be able to generate that much. You need to use something. It would have to be nuclear something. I just don't think you can get shit like that that can run on diesel. I can't see it. That's why it was so funny when you watched like what was that game called? The film Pacific Rim. Oh, like oh yeah, the Daisy Cutter will be able to won't be impacted by the EPM because it still uses electricity. What was it? It said some shit like that. Or was it like it's nuclear power or something? It was some bullshit. Like the reason it didn't get affected by the EMP was because it was like it was like it yeah it was like it wasn't nuclear powered or some shit. Or I think that or there was that the reason. Yeah, that was the reason it had to go put the bomb in at the end. The ending was fucked. That was just a movie that just it. I have no problem it existed. I watched it in a cinema and it was fucking amazing. But then I just never had a desire to really. Well, I'll rewatch the fights because the CGI in that still looks incredible. Considering that movie came out in what 13 years ago, probably now. I watched it when I was still in Warsaw, so that was 2012, 13 or 14. Mm-hmm. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's funny because my brother, I remember he bought the first ever one of this. I'm pretty sure it is on PlayStation. I'm gonna look it up. It was so bare bones. Ace Combat PlayStation. Yeah, it is. That's the one. Oh, sorry. It was called Air Combat. I'm very sorry. I don't know if that's the same. I think Air Combat's technically a different game. So, is it? Yeah, I think so, because it's made by Namco, so I think that's a good. But anyway, oh no, this is made by Namco. No, it is. It's the first title of the Ace Combat franchise. We're learning something. So Air Combat, yeah, it's actually technically the first Ace Combat. I thought that was right. And I remember it was great. Well, it wasn't. It was really funny because it had like really funny like music. It was like super rock and roll. It was like dun 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 dun. And the menu was just, and I just remember like the only thing we could do on two player was this really shit mode called like dogfight. Yeah, well, that doesn't sound so bad, then, right? Okay, well, it isn't like hasn't got all the nuances, and it hasn't like didn't learn from all the mistakes of the past because it wasn't. It was the pioneering days. It was trying to work out what the best way to do it. So they thought the best way to do a dogfight would be is you literally you go on the menu when you go multiplayer. You have a choice between. I'm not even joking. I think it was like 3 or 4 different planes, which in my opinion, they all just basically act exactly the same. But whatever, there's probably some tiny nuance to each one. Like one could take another, like a missile more or something. One could bank slightly sharper. And then like as soon as the game starts, you just do like a gentleman's duel where you like you you fly. You're like look like you're about to fly into each other, but then you just like you bank really far up and you turn around. And I think the duel just starts then, so you're both facing away from each other, and it's just so fucked. It's so rubbish because the level is like not very big, not that it needs to be. Also, just playing a two-player dogfight is just shit. I just think it is. I don't know. Um, I just think it is. It's just the game wasn't like sharp enough and smart enough to be able to do anything good. So it just results in just effectively it's just a game. It's just like someone just ends up just getting one over on the other someone else. It's just, there's no technique. And then I think the next time I played an Ace Combat game because I didn't buy them. I wasn't like I would never. I wasn't someone who like really looked forward to it. This slipped under my radar anyway. Like, I can remember where I was in 2019. So I mean, this came out before Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, but I just obviously just didn't. It probably did come out. I probably did look at it and go, "Oh, that looks pretty cool," but I just probably just never got around to buying it. But I saw it in the shop and it was so cheap. It was fuck it. Even though I just play it and I hate it. Which I doubt I will. I don't know what they'd have. The only way that this game could really fuck off is if they just completely changed this because I haven't researched anything about it. It's like maybe I'll play it and it'll just turn out to be like a card game or something like that. You just start playing it and it's just like, welcome to the Ace Combat Cadet Training Center. Here is your starting deck. And I'll be like, starting deck? And I'd be like, so when do I get into the plane then? He'd be like, please look in your deck. These are your plane cards. I was like, plane cards? What are you talking about? When do I get in the plane? These are your missile cards. to to learn how to start by rolling a 20-sided dice. No. 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 Make sure you have a pen and paper handy because you're going to be needing to write down all your scores. No. 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 I say that was because there was a Fantasy Star game. They released it on the GameCube, and it was insanely good. It was really good. Fantasy Star Online 1 and 2, really fucking good. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I had one friend who had it, and I have memories of having to make about four different characters. Always played as a mage every time. But I just remember for some reason playing it, getting somewhere, then something happening to that data, and then having to like make another save. And I do recall maybe having to do that like another time. So I think there's like at least three times I can remember where for some reason we had to just play the game again for reasons untold. I reckon he just deleted the data because I think the Fantasy Star Online annoyingly took up quite a lot of save data because most games were just shit because if you actually know what save data is, actually it's like it makes sense why they're so small. Which is almost criminal why like memory cards were so small as well if you think about it. Because I think someone said something like if you had like if you had like a gigabyte memory card back in like the GameCube time or something, that would have lasted you just. I think that's like more saves. You could have more saves than there are other games in the library, and just because basically all a save is, I believe it's just a string of code, isn't it? It's just basically it's like the game is remembering all of the code of where your character is and every thing you've done and moved. It just remembers all of that and all of those set values, and now that's what's being saved. So when you load it, you're like loading at that checkpoint, and of all the characters, all the ammo, and all the make sure that every single thing has to be recorded. Remember, so it has to remember every single plasma cutter bullet I've got in my like arc welder. It has to remember all the health packs I've got. It's got to remember everything in my inventory as well. All of that. So that's what makes the save, I believe. But I think if you're doing it on the bigger games, or if it's got to remember a lot more values, that's what's taking up more. So that's why, for example, if you just have, let me just, I know it sounds really stupid, but I'm just trying. I guess it isn't. Let's say, like, for example, you have like Pikmin. I guess, like, if you save Pikmin, the game has to just remember what day it is, how many areas have you unlocked, what parts have you got, and then how many of each of the three Pikmin you've got. I think that's, yeah, you see what I mean? See, that's not that much. So that's all it's doing. If you do you want me to go like mega big brain on you? The mega big brain is like that theory. So you know there's that theory, there's that like thing where they say like every time they use the portal, the like the beam me up Scotty, the holodeck, or no, it's not called the holodeck. It's called the teleport. You know that thing. The theory is that every time they use that, the person that they knew as whoever goes down there, like the spark or whatever, they actually die in that moment when they get vaporized. They actually do die, and then whatever gets reconstituted is a different version of them. So it looks the same. You wouldn't even notice, but there is just some kind of like soul connection where you're like no longer that person anymore. If that makes sense, but no one will know. No one will know. Not even if you ask them, they just won't know. But there's just an ethereal, there's just like an ephemeral thing. Like your soul is gone and it's been replaced by like something else, and that's just like that's that theory about that. And it's kind of the same when you load a save. You're being tricked into thinking that that's your character, that's your little man. If you're playing like Pikmin, that's your Captain Olimar that you've intrepidly been doing everything with, and it's not. It just looks like it has, but it's just all it's done is it's just like reading that code and knowing, oh, like, we need to throw an Olimar in there, which is on the level on the days 4. So you're going to be on the select screen. It's going to be day 4. It's going to remember you have 118 red Pikmin, 34 yellow, 415 blue. You have 4 parts. You see what I mean? You have these many letters you can read. uh, but yeah, so that might only take up a little bit of like save data, do you see? Because like, that's probably only like a few values. But if you're like having to do, for example, I know one of the biggest ones was Animal Crossing, which did just take up a fucking whole memory card. Why is that? Because there's so many more nuances that it's got to remember now. So now you've got to remember, okay, let's go through it all. So you got to go through the calibration of all your house. So everything about your house is complete. Think about all you got to remember every single is how many possibilities is there of everything. And when you've got like a house where you're building shit and you're like able to move shit, so every single thing in that house is like something you could use a save editor to just do. Or the same with like, you see what I'm saying? Because it's just code. It's just code. So if you've built your house in a certain way and you've got that certain bits of furniture in it, that's got to remember all of that. It's got for the illusion to work. So you think that when you go to sleep and you're like, oh no, my person's gone, and then you turn on the thing and it's there. You're like, oh, thank God, he's still alive. It has to. You remember everything, doesn't it? That's the trick. It's got to remember it all. So you think you've got like a little little house. So now let's think about that in an even bigger level. Let's think about that from our plane. So let's think about us. So for how much memory would you need to run a universe? So now you've got to remember every variable of everything, of anything ever. And you've got to remember every single quantized state of everything. You've got to remember every single thought and process of every person ever, and every single little nuance of everyone ever. Scary, isn't it? But yeah, and it's like that. So that's why it takes up a whole memory card, because then you've got to remember Tom Nook, and it's not even that. It's all these like nuances with each character as well. You don't have to worry about that in Pikmin. In Pikmin, you don't have a fucking gauge, which does like how much does each NPC like you, and the NPC's got to remember every single like these stupid like events and stuff. So when it's like your birthday in the game, it will remember that. So it's got to remember like how many times because each one of those will have like if you go into the code of the game, you'll find that probably every single NPC like in your town will have like these like flags and checkers, and it'll be like you'll get points or something like that for every time you do something like good. So if you give him a card or give him a present or something, you'll probably get like a point. And it's like if you have like certain amount of points, they'll treat you in a certain favorable way. So it'll say like certain, and then it'll unlock certain like events they'll do with you. And the same way, negative side, and there might be a state high. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's got to remember all of that. If you've made a theme tune for your town, it's got to remember that. If you've all the shit that you can get in the encyclopedia, and there's all of that, all the fish you can get, all of the bugs you can catch, all of that, every single bit of that is a piece of code which can be changed. That's why it takes a whole memory card. There's so much for it to literally, like as you say, remember. So then, yeah, I think the next time I played Ace Combat, I got a demo disc for PS2. It was one of the very first ones, because I think the Ace Combat that came out for the PS2 it wasn't a release title, but it was like one of the first sort of 6 months. I think it came out. It came out like the same time. I think you had Jack and Daxter, like the original, and then you had this. I think there was this like weird game I never played. It was called like Dio or something like that. I just remember it just had like this woman with like purple hair, and she had like guns, and she had like glasses on, so it just looked really shit. It was something like that. And I just remember that I always saw it in Game Shop, and I was always like, this could be interesting. I just looked in the back, I was like, oh, I don't want to play as a woman. The smartest decision I ever made. Absolutely don't want to play as a woman, dude. I'm sorry. That you might even say it's part of the reason I don't want to fucking play Last of Us. I just don't. Why do I want to play as a woman? Like, when have I played as a woman? I was just speaking to myself. Like, when would I ever be? Yeah, even just like playing Resident Evil 1. You play as Jill, and it's just stupid. I don't know. You just get like attacked by the zombie. And I just think like and it's stupid anyway. Because even if you're Chris and you get caught by the zombie, I just think like Chris is so big, he would just be so easily be able to not have the zombie bite him. He's like, and for some reason he is unable to just push. And I can't imagine a zombie is going to be that strong. He's just going to be like rotten flesh and muscle, and he's just probably just been like rotting for the last. So this is always the thing with the zombies. It doesn't make any sense. So how's the mechanic even working? Like if they've gone through rigor mortis, what's happening? So the blood just starts going, all the muscles just start healing. It doesn't make any sense. There's got to be some kind of like voodoo shit. People are like, no, man, it's the virus does it. It's like, what are you talking about? Virus just regrows all the tissue, does it? And also, like, why they say when they ever get bitten, they never it's never a problem. They never seem to care. I was always under the shtick that if you get bitten, that's it. You're kind of good. Your time's up. Again, they could just have a little bit of dialogue that just says, "Thank God, thank God, we managed to get those. The medic managed to give us those T-virus. Just something like that. That's all you need to say. Shut the autistic people like me up." So I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna be like, "Why do they get bitten?" And it's not a problem for them. But then if you watch a cutscene and someone gets bitten, it is a problem. And you'll be like, well, because that's the same, we all know that video game. I mean, that I need to make a video on that. I think someone probably has. I can't be the only person to think about that. And where it's just like, in the movies, in the games, where anything that happens to you in the movies, in a cutscene, in a game, is like, it acts in like real life. But anything that happens to you in the game, it's just kind of, it's all just hyperbole, I suppose. What's happening when you're doing the game and you're like seeing Solid Snake like getting shot loads of times. That's actually just what Snake thinks is happening. It's not actually that at all. It's all just, yeah. Insanity. I was thinking of trying to play. So this game is like boasting the fact that it's got VR. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. Oh, what's this? Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember playing this on the 2012 one. I can't remember which number it was, but it was really fun. Because it's like I say, it just doesn't take itself that seriously. Which for a game about jets, you just kind of, because that's what the Japanese have done really well. Is they have, because Bandai, I people hate me will hate me for saying it. I think they do mostly make like more arcade style games, but that's not a problem because I like those sort of games sometimes because they are the ones where it's just a bit stupid and it's like fine. This is the whole point of it. I don't want to play a jet game where I am actually just going to be a jet pilot and you're going to work out and I don't want to take that away and say it's not exciting. So it will be, but what I'm trying to say to you is in like the most practical, the most effective style of you being a jet pilot. If I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, it depends. Like, it completely depends on what your role is, anyway, because you have so many different types of planes. If you're a bomber, for example, your job will be to obviously go to a destination, drop payload, and then return back. And usually, you are chaperoned by a couple of fighters just in case they do something. But you can still get obviously taken down by a flat cannon or a surface-to-air missile or something. But then if you're a fighter, you gotta you need to protect them. So you might encounter position, but it's like I said to you. I think unless the planes are really similar, it just isn't going to be a fair fight. I don't think. I think the planes are so crazy in terms of how fast they are traveling. There probably did used to be a period where you might have seen it, but I don't know if have been ever any like actual modern jet fights that I can recall. We've just got all these like jets and stuff, and no one's ever done anything with them. Because it's like I say, I'm pretty sure like China have like hyperjets. Russia doesn't see. I don't know. The whole situation of Ukraine really seems to have, but like Russia, and like I just don't know what to do anymore. Oh, here we go. So I'm gonna do hard. Can't be changed, man.
Does the color of the sky mean anything special to you? It does to me. A hell of a lot.
I love it. I love the story. It's always like so crazy.
When I close my eyes, the sky in my dreams.
So Eileen, it's like all the politics are just sort of fake. Stupid characters, like you'll have like some woman with massive tits who'll just be like this obviously seems to be where they want women to be in the part. So maybe the woman's the main character then.
My grandpa didn't want me joining the Air Force.
So there you go. Ha 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 ha. That's my fault. I just said who wants to play as a woman, and probably now I'm gonna have to play as one.
I wish you could see what it's like up there, cruising above the clouds.
Yeah, like this shit. It's great. It's just there's this beauty about.
Nothing beats being at the controls.
It's great. Look at this.
Look here.
Gramps tossed a magazine over to me with an article. Unmanned fighters are no longer a dream, it read. Pilots taking to the skies will soon be a distant memory.
I don't see anything good coming from that.
Know what? Lying smack dab in the middle of the desert west of here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
From the last war.
It's just a graveyard. Just so these planes.
But most of them are just rusted piles of junk waiting to be scrapped. Gramps was really good friends with the super there, so he got to take whatever he wanted, no questions asked.
Insane. Incredible.
That's how we got the parts to build our own plane. Now, when I say we, I mean me, my grandpa, and his old war buddies.
This is brilliant.
I cut my teeth working with those geezers. They taught me their skills, and some dirty jokes. But with their aging eyeballs and whatnot, I ended up having to do most of the work myself. I was at the airstrip flight training when I saw it.
I don't know.
A prototype drone. It wasn't much of a plane, more of a trash can with wings.
Laugh at it all you want, kid. But technology's always changing. If you don't keep up with it,
Why is that even a problem? Can I just ask what the problem is? Because
6 years and 8 months
it is much safer.
And it took us another year and a half after that to finally get the balance of the airframe just right. I'd gone from being a little girl to, well, still a girl, just older. But
So it's like Katie. This is like this is what the games like Katie would have played. This is why Katie's the way she is, because she would be like, she would have played this, and she'd be like, yeah, dude, fuck yeah.
I hope it's peaceful.
And then this is the sad reality that I was about to allude to: is I don't know if women can be pilots. I'm so sorry. I'm probably wrong. So you can definitely have female pilot, but I think it's going to be a lot harder because they pass
All
out.
this plane could do was take off,
The graphics are crazy
accelerate,
good.
and fly up.
I'm sure they can be pilots. I don't know. I just can't imagine it's easier. Especially if you're gonna, no offense, you're putting the best men. You're gonna have the best people that you can being in these fuck off expensive vehicles.